Hey everybody, I'm Mike Peters.
And I'm Rebecca Farina.
And you're watching
LIE.
LIE. Coming up, we're going to take a look at what's going on this month at PATV.
We'll take a trip over to the Nassau County Museum of Art.
And we'll hear a word from one of our community sponsors.
All that and more
on
LIE.
Whoa, incoming! What is that?
This just in, we have some events that PATV will be covering this month.
Oh, really?
The first thing is actually the Great Neck Park District Ice Show.
Huh, that's pretty cool.
Which is a really cool ice show. You know, it's getting warm now. You might want to cool off. And
cool down.
We'll have all that information when we'll be airing that on patv.org.
Yes, true. And I think there's another big event that happens at the end of May, right?
Of course, it's Memorial Day.
Memorial Day.
And Manhasset and Great Neck actually each has a parade every year, and PATV will be there.
That's right. PATV will be there covering the event live. And all this month, we're going to be showcasing last year's Memorial Day parade. So this year, on the 29th, be sure to go and check out the parades in both Manhasset and Great Neck, and keep an eye out for the PATV crew out there. We're going to be covering the whole events.
That's right. And you know, speaking of the equipment that we're going to be taking there to film these events, do you know that you can actually borrow equipment from us?
It's true. If you are a PATV member, you can email info@patv.org and check out some of the equipment. If you want to shoot a music video or, I don't know, food reviews, makeup tutorials, anything, just let us know. And Rebecca, you know, sometimes when we get that equipment back from our field producers, we get interesting surprises.
Really?
Yeah. Let's take a look at this picture. Can you tell me what this is?
What? I'm not sure.
All right. We're gonna show right now. What's?
Oh.
Rubber chicken.
I hope that's fake. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. So we have a group, Teen TV, and they took out some of the equipment to film a legit food review. I don't know what that is, but when they returned the equipment, we had a rubber chicken. Nice surprise.
So the possibilities are endless.
It's true. Anyway, we have a lot of fun here at PATV, in case you hadn't noticed. So, you know, it's the end of May. We have Memorial Day coming up. What else does that mean for us?
The beaches are opening. You might want to get out and participate in some water sports or watch some water sports. Watching some water sports? That gives me a great idea. How about we check in with some LIE favorites, the Supper Girls? Yes!
SUP stands for stand-up paddleboard, and it's a water sport in which you're paddling on a board which is larger than a surfboard, and you use a single blade paddle. So you're standing on the water, paddling. I've been paddleboarding for about 7 years. I don't think there was a single experience that triggered this particular expedition. I think it was more of a culmination of aspects of my life. I've always been involved in water sports. I started rowing, sculling when I was really, really young, and then took up kayaking. And then when paddleboarding got into the mix, I picked up paddleboarding. And I also bike a lot, and I like getting places by my own means. So I started thinking about doing a trip, a long distance trip, either biking or kayaking or paddleboarding. And then I decided to go on a paddleboarding trip. I was the first to paddleboard around Long Island. It's been done by kayaks, but nobody had paddleboarded around it. And I decided to do the circumnavigation of Long Island because I wanted to do a first solo trip, but I didn't dare going somewhere far. So I picked Long Island because it's close to home and the furthest I can be from somebody picking me up if something went wrong was kind of 3 hours away. So it made me feel better about the fact that I was not far from my family in case anything happened. And but it was still a long enough trip to be a challenge, because you know, going around Manhattan is one thing because you can do it in 8-9 hours, but then going around Long Island, which is the largest island on the East Coast, it was in itself a challenge, but at the same time it was the safest thing that I could think of doing at that time, at least. That was my first solo trip. It was scary. It was scary all the time. All the time. It was really scary. But at some point, I guess it was on the third or the second day, I sort of realized that I was going to be scared and worried about where I would sleep that night, if the winds were gonna pick up or not, people on the beach kicking me out because you can't really camp on the beach around Long Island, where I was gonna get water, if I was gonna find water or not. Like, so all these things, they're just in your mind as you're paddling. And at one point, I realized I was going to be worrying about everything all the time. And instead of trying to convince myself that everything was gonna be okay and just like enjoy the trip or whatever, I decided I was going to embrace the fact that I was gonna be worried and scared all the time and just take it as the state of mind that you're in when you're on a solo trip like that. Even though I was, you know, maybe 400 yards from a street, right? But most of the time I was pretty much alone, so it made it awesome. It's not, I mean, it's not like I had a terrible time. I loved it. I want to do it again, but it does put you in that state of mind where you're just constantly being challenged by every single aspect of the trip.
Man, I can't wait to get out there on the water.
Yep.
You know, last month at PATV, we had a very special event, our celebration of World Art Day, where we showcased a lot of local artists.
That's right, and we actually showcased one artist named Adam Handler, who's exhibiting right now at the Gold Coast Art Center. Oh. So check out this interview with him.
Hi, I'm Regina Gill. I'm the founder and executive director of the Gold Coast Art Center, which is where we are today, as we interview, talk to, learn more about the work and life of the artist Adam Handler. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you, thank you.
We're going to be asking Adam questions. We're trying to, in honor of World Art Day, we're trying to establish what makes an artist. What point in your life do you realize this is what I want to do? And not all artists start off doing that.
Yeah, that's a good question. It was probably around 18 or 19 years old that I figured I really wanted to be an artist. I always was creative. I was always doodling, sketching on my desk. I was frequent detention in high school because I would write all over my desk and draw. So there was a little bit of...
Teachers loved you.
Yes, teachers did love me. But it was probably around 18 when I started life drawing in Italy. Where I really had a professor that really kind of encouraged creative processes and experimenting and looking outside the box.
How did you, there's a story, how did you get to Italy?
Oh, that's probably...
Which is like every artist's dream.
So I was studying at SUNY Purchase. I was studying art history and sculpture. And there was a program in a...
So let's back that up. So you already knew in college that this was the path you were taking.
Yeah.
So at what point in high school?
In high school, it was, well, I grew up in, I had kind of had an interesting upbringing. I was surrounded by the arts all the time. My grandparents owned a framing factory in Brooklyn. So my mother was a New York City school teacher, and she would drop me off at the framing factory in Brooklyn. So my brother and I would spend countless hours around art. I mean, art from Picasso, Chagall's, Matisse paintings. It was, for me, I found it to be the most comforting environment to be surrounded by all these amazing representations of figures and flowers. And I knew that something in me was going to be an artist, whether it was working with the arts or being an artist myself.
Did you meet any resistance from your parents?
Not my mother. My mother always encouraged my creativity, and my father, he didn't outrightly say it, but my father comes from a more business mind, and he didn't think that it would be possible to actually make a living being an artist.
That kills me.
And now, even today, even when he calls me about once a week, saying, "Are you okay? How are you doing? Are you making?" I'm like, "Dad, I'm doing all right."
Haven't taken out the tin cup yet, Dad.
So back to the story then. So I was studying in Italy, and I had a professor that really encouraged my creativity.
What
and
was
really,
that?
It was his name was Len Stokes, and I studied in a very small town on the Amalfi Coast in Peshota, and it happened to also be. Where
Everyone
I met my wife. My wife was at that time studying as well in the same program, but didn't know her before. So I was in love. I was surrounded by with wine and great food, and it really spurred my creativity, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
So when you say it snowballed, so you graduated from school?
Yes, I graduated from school.
And your exhibits some of them were in school?
Some of them were in school. Some of them I really went out a lot and really kind of pushed myself and pushed my work. And I would have an exhibit.
Where?
Pushed it in galleries, collectors, doing every little contest here and there. And sales started to happen, and collectors started to follow me. And I just hustled. I kept hustling and showing anywhere that would show my work.
This is very important.
Yeah.
You should be telling the public.
Yeah.
There are artists out there. There are students here, and they're not just students who are visual artists, but students who are performing artists. And they need to know that this isn't like some lightning bolt that just suddenly hits you one day. I mean, maybe it happens to one person.
Very rarely, but
that it's really a process.
It is. It's a process, and a lot now. I'm at the age. I'm 30 now. Even though I'm considered still a younger artist, I feel like I've been doing this since I was 18 years old. So I feel a little bit. I have some advice for people, and I'm getting younger artists now asking me,
right.
What kind of advice can you give me? How did you get into galleries working like this? And the first piece of advice I always give to everyone is to have a very thick skin and to believe in your work the most, because you're going to get a lot of criticism. You're going to have people who don't understand exactly modern or contemporary art, and you need to really believe in yourself, because if people see in collectors and galleries see that you don't believe in your work, how are you going to get other people to actually purchase works of art from you?
Now, you were in Italy. Did you feel that was the same thing when you were in Italy? Did the average person have a better understanding of art and culture and an interest in what you were doing?
At that time when I was studying, it was really just the beginning. So I really wasn't trying to sell my work. I was just like kind of an explosion of creativity and drawing. So it was really just kind of almost like an outlet.
Okay.
And it didn't probably until I graduated that I started like, okay, now I need to pay bills and make a living and do things like this. I wasn't going to just be able to drink wine and eat in a square for as many hours as I wanted to.
Which is the stereotype of the artist.
Yes, but no, it's a lot of hours in the studio, and a lot of hours actually not in the studio, sending emails, sending photos, updating your website, doing social media. So it's probably a 50-50.
So you're talking about the business of art.
The business of art.
Versus the process of the inspiration. And it's very unusual to have an artist who's actually a good businessman.
Yeah, it's important.
Even historically, we don't have to talk about Van Gogh, but we could. They say that Rubens, Peter Paul Rubens, was unique even in his day because he was a fantastic businessman, which is why he was able to have big, huge apprentices and studios, maybe 50, 60 artists working for him. And that's unusual. So
it is, and it's important. You figured it out, and you figured it out a necessity. You're saying, do you want to have a real job, or do you want to live a life as an artist? Well, it is a career that is very rewarding if you are able to actually make a living as it, being an artist. So, for me, it was that hustle. It was that.
Did you take a business class?
No, never.
Never did.
Never did. But my father, my father used to sell sweaters and all kinds of different.
So there was
he'd buy things in the flea market. So as a kid, there used to be a large flea market in Nassau County in Long Island, and every Sunday, I would. My father and my uncle would be there, and I would spend. And they hustled. They knew how to make sales and do things like that. So I think part of me.
Osmosis.
Yeah, I think something came through.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly. Well, that's good because. One of the things that we try to emphasize, and we're talking about filmmakers and painters and sculptors and dancers, and some people are shy about selling their work. Some people consider it's getting their hands dirty when they talk about money, and I think that's a mistake. I think people have to understand that it's a profession. It's a job. You've put in a lot of time studying, and you continue to do that to grow, right?
Yeah,
Talk about that process, how your work changed from, let's say, post-college to where you are today.
Yeah. Well, my work, I mean, if you look at some of my work probably from when I was 19, 20, 21, you wouldn't even be able to tell.
Do we have any samples of that?
No, I mean, probably I could always send you images, but very different work.
We're going to hold you to that.
Very different work. I was doing a lot of that time. They were more inspired by Impressionist paintings. I was doing a very kind of Van Gogh, Matisse style works. I was still trying to find my own voice. Right. And then it went, in my mid-20s trying to be, doing photography and collage and trying to be more edgy. But it wasn't honest. But it was a process. I was learning about myself and my work. And then it was probably about 5 years ago that I really kind of let go of all that and decided to be completely honest with myself and vulnerable in that sense. And that my work changed, and I've been doing the current work that's going to be at Gold Coast is reflective of that, and then you'll see that series of works.
Let's mention that.
Yes.
So you're having an exhibit here. We've invited you to have an exhibit here with us at the Gold Coast Art Center in our gallery, which is free and open to the public to come in and visit and see this work. And to meet you at the artist reception, which will be what day?
May 7th from 4 to 7 p.m.
Is the reception.
Is the reception.
And the exhibit will be going
It'll be through the entire summer until September 15th, so you'll have a long window.
Everybody can
see
come.
the exhibit.
Yes, okay, that's fantastic. Thank you, Adam Handler. Thank you for being with us today on PATV, and you are celebrating World Art Day with us.
The Gold Coast Art Center is a really cool place to be, but it's not the only cool place you can go to check out some art here on Long Island.
True.
We also have the Nassau County Museum of Art.
Yeah, the Nassau County Museum of Art's a really great place to visit and take in all the exhibits they have. And one of their current exhibits is about an American designer, Holston, and Shirley Romaine is here to tell us a little bit more about him.
Hello, I'm Shirley Romaine, and I am delighted to be here at one of Long Island's treasures, the Nassau County Museum of Art. The museum itself is located in a former Frick estate, and it is known for its outstanding exhibitions, both foreign and domestic, bringing great art to Long Island from around the world. The museum is situated on a 145-acre Gold Coast estate, and it offers walking tours, trails, gardens, and a sculpture park, in addition to the museum. And here to join me is Carl Willers. He is the director of the museum, and we are so pleased to have him on this program for World Art Day. You really brought to the island wonderful exhibits of all kinds of painting, of sculpture, of photography. The recent show on photography.
We did just close a show on photography in order to install this exhibition. We're actually sitting in the opening gallery of the Halston Style exhibition, which is the first comprehensive survey of Halston's work in fashion. This project was curated by Leslie Frowick, who is Halston's niece and also inherited the Halston archives from Halston upon his death. And is, as I said, the first comprehensive retrospective of Halston's work, which is kind of hard to believe at this point, because Halston was such a central figure within American fashion of the latter part of the 20th century, that this is the world's first chance to really see a comprehensive view of his contributions.
But more and more we're seeing fashion as art.
Very much so.
And I think that's absolutely correct.
Well, I think it is very much an art form, and I think that's very evident as you walk through this particular project. I mean, I'm amazed at how many people, their comments are that, well, I would wear that, tonight. And you think that most of the garments, like in the show, really are approaching 50 years old. So it wasn't your mother, but your grandmother that wore these in her prime. And for young people to come through the exhibition and look at an object and say, how current it looks, and how they could like wear it to a party tonight and be, you know, and heads would turn from every direction, is really a compliment to how much of a genius Halston really was, and how advanced he was in his thinking about fashion and American fashion.
Well, and it really tells us so much about the lifestyle, and I think he was pretty much involved with fashionable people. You know, who wore these clothes?
Well, very much so. It's interesting, you know, that expression that's become famous, you know, "You are who you dress," was coined by Halston.
Yeah.
And he did dress many of the most famous and iconic women of his time, from Liza Minnelli to Elizabeth Taylor, working women, women within the entertainment industry, people, you know, really all over the world.
Well, I was
many first ladies.
Yeah. Well, yes, Jackie Kennedy.
Yes.
That hat that she wore, the pillbox hat.
Very much so.
His. Oh,
and we have the pillbox hat on view. It's not exactly the one that Jackie wore to the inauguration. It's a beautiful example. Halston began his career as a milliner, as a hat maker, which I don't think a lot of people don't really realize that he began his career in Chicago, opened a small hat making shop there, and instantly had a great effect upon the world of fashion through this small salon, and was, in a sense, his career was pushed forward by several people, but Miss Jessica, who ran the hat salon at Bergdorf's, sort of picked him out from the crowd, and he ended up at a very young age running the hat salon at Bergdorf's, which was kind of the inner sanctum of fashion within New York, and in some ways like around the world. And that was an era where hats were still very much worn in a way that they're not, you know, today.
I also was very interested in reading that he was part of that Studio 54 crowd.
Yes.
You know, I mean, that was pretty crazy. So you kind of get an interesting picture of him, you know.
Very much so, and there is a gallery upstairs at the museum that is devoted to Studio 54. It has a lot of photography of like the Studio 54 era. That was like a whole scene, a celebrity scene that sort of emerged with the emergence of disco culture within this country. People don't realize that it was a very short period of time, just in the late 70s, that Studio 54 was really open. But also in that gallery, it's kind of you know, one of the highlights of the show. All of Halston's sequined and studded gowns are there, the kinds of things that would sparkle.
You tell me that there's a special, something special going on in one of the rooms here.
Right now, those activities are taking place in a room that's really devoted to Halston's travels to China very early, and he really wanted to, it's another example of his innovations within the business of fashion and art, that he really traveled to China in order to have access to their silks. But this was very early, just soon after, soon after China was really opened up.
Well, I'm especially pleased that we were able to be here in celebration of World Art Day, because this is our local contribution to world art. So I thank you, Carl.
Well, thank you for being here and for sharing this with our community.
As you can see, here at PATV, we take the arts seriously, and we think you should support the arts. One of the ways you can support the arts is becoming a community partner with PATV.
That's right. We have several local businesses that provide support to our programs, and this is one of them.
Burt Gordy Acupuncture. Let's take a look. So, Rebecca, did you know that PATV is getting exposure all around the world now?
No, how so?
Well, I actually took a trip to Poland and Germany, and let's take a look at these pictures. Oh, yeah, see?
Oh, wow.
Now, that's PATV in Krakow.
That's awesome.
And the next one, that is PATV in Berlin, Germany.
Sweet.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
PATV is making the rounds.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. You went to Germany. Do you have any German ancestry?
You know, I'm not quite sure, and I don't even know how I would go about finding out.
I think Phyllis Sterneman can help you out with her new show, I Dream of Genealogy.
Let's take a look. And we had a really great show today.
We had a good show.
Yeah, we got back on the water with the Supper Girls.
Right. We had a look at our fabulous art scene on Long Island.
We took a trip around the world with Phyllis.
Yeah, and don't forget, if you want to be one of our community partners, all you have to do is email info@patv.org.
It's true, we could use your support.
Certainly can.
And I think that's all we have today, unless, am I forgetting something?
I think I have to shoot this plane over to Grace Grella for the Vibe of the Month.
The Vibe of the Month. Ladies and gentlemen, Grace Grella.
Whoop!
Rebecca, Mike, wow, those are really good vibes you're throwing with my introduction. I appreciate that. And I'm very grateful and thankful because everybody needs a little good energy in this month of May. I thought it was going to be the merry, merry month of May, but it's been really tense for everyone with everything going on in the heavens and on Earth. So what we can do now that the full moon is over with, the full moon in Scorpio, which brought out a lot of relationship issues, and my goodness, somebody was fired, oh my, in the government, and just all these crazy things going on. What you have to really focus on is not the negative energy. It's about good vibes. It's about realizing every little thing going to be all right. And as Pollyanna as that sounds, we need to have that perspective this month, because otherwise it will just bring you into that whirlwind of energy that is not healthy for anybody. So the good news is towards the end of May, things will stabilize. The heavens won't be as cranky, and the vibes and the energy, you really will get back to good vibrations. So right now, just do a little bit on the slow-mo, slow that roll a little bit, and realize that this too shall pass, and all good things will come to those who wait. So if you have that patience and give it till the end of May, all those flowers are going to start blooming. The weather's getting nicer, and the winter will finally go bye-bye. So I want everyone to know there really is a light at the end of this tunnel this month. So just stay in the positive zone. Try to do things that put pep in your step, and realize, until the next time, this is the end of the show. But there's always next month. See you then.